She was a queen, a witch, a political mastermind, and possibly one of the most dangerous women in history. Her name was Olympias, mother of Alexander the Great. Some say she brainwashed young Alexander into believing he was the son of a god. Others claim she practiced dark magic, slept with snakes, and orchestrated bloody assassinations, even of her own husband, King Philip II. After Alexander took the throne, she humiliated her rivals, made a queen watch her baby burn alive, and then handed her a rope, a dagger, and poison, telling her to pick her own method of death. Even Alexander himself was horrified by his mother's ruthlessness. But here's the real question. Was she a monster, or just a mother who would stop at nothing to protect her son's destiny? Buckle up, because today we're diving into the shocking, bloody, and spellbinding life of Olympias. And by the end, you might just agree that she was the most ruthless woman in ancient history. Let's rewind to 375 BCE. Olympias was born a princess of Epirus, a kingdom neighboring Macedonia. She was said to be strikingly beautiful, but also intense, spiritual, and deeply devoted to the cult of Dionysus, the Greek god of wine, ecstasy, and, yes, snakes. When she married King Philip II of Macedon, she became queen. But this wasn't exactly a fairy tale marriage. Philip was a brilliant warrior and politician, but also a serial philanderer with multiple wives and concubines. Olympias, by contrast, was passionate, ambitious, and fiercely protective of her son, the boy we now know as Alexander the Great. And this is where things start to get interesting, and a little spooky. Olympias reportedly told Alexander that his true father wasn't Philip at all. It was Zeus himself. Imagine being a kid and your mom tells you, "By the way, you're the son of the king of the gods. You're destined to rule the world." Talk about pressure. But this wasn't just words. Olympias reinforced this belief with rituals and omens. She reportedly performed secret ceremonies at night, brought snakes into her bed as part of Dionysian rites, and told Alexander stories of divine destiny until he believed it. Whether you call it brainwashing or brilliant parenting, it clearly worked. Alexander grew up with unshakable confidence that he was destined to be a conqueror. But Olympias' ambition came at a price, and her marriage with Philip was crumbling. By the time Philip married another woman, Cleopatra Eurydice, a much younger Macedonian noblewoman, Olympias felt threatened. Because Cleopatra could produce a pure Macedonian heir, which might sideline Alexander and strip him of his claim to the throne. And that's when things got bloody. 336 BCE, the wedding of Philip's daughter Cleopatra, not to be confused with his new wife. Philip enters the theater ready to celebrate, and is assassinated by one of his bodyguards. Who ordered the hit? Some historians believe Olympias was behind it. Others suspect Alexander himself was involved. Either way, Philip was dead, and Alexander was now king. Olympias wasted no time consolidating power. And this is where her reputation for ruthlessness really takes off. First, she targeted Cleopatra Eurydice, Philip's new wife, and her baby. Ancient sources tell us that Olympias had Cleopatra's infant burned alive in front of her. Then she gave Cleopatra 3 gifts: a rope, a dagger, and poison, telling her to pick how she wanted to die. Cleopatra reportedly chose the rope. Can you imagine the coldness of that? Even Alexander, who had just taken the throne, was shocked at what his mother had done. But he didn't punish her. Why? Probably because he needed her political support. Olympias was a powerful queen and had many allies. As Alexander went off to conquer the Persian Empire, Olympias stayed behind as regent of Macedon, running the kingdom with an iron fist. But power came with enemies, and Olympias kept accumulating them. She reportedly continued to eliminate anyone who threatened Alexander's rule, including rivals from the royal family. By the time Alexander died unexpectedly in Babylon in 323 BCE, Olympias was one of the most feared women in the ancient world, and that fear didn't save her. After Alexander's death, chaos erupted. His generals divided his empire and fought each other in a massive power struggle. Olympias tried to hold on to power, supporting her grandson Alexander IV's claim to the throne. But her enemies had had enough. In 316 BCE, after a brief but brutal civil war, Olympias was captured. The families of her many victims demanded revenge. And so the queen who had orchestrated so many deaths met a violent end. She was stoned to death by a mob. No trial, no royal burial, just brutal justice delivered by those who had waited years for payback. It was a bloody end for a woman who had spent her entire life fighting for her son's future. So, was Olympias the most ruthless woman in history? Maybe. She was manipulative, cunning, and capable of terrifying cruelty. But she was also a mother who believed her son was destined for greatness. And she did everything, absolutely everything, to make sure he got there. Without Olympias, maybe there would have been no Alexander the Great at all. She shaped him, protected him, and probably made him believe he could conquer the world. So, what do you think? Was Olympias a monster? Or was she just a powerful woman doing what it took to survive in a brutal, male-dominated world? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your take on this incredible story. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of history's most fascinating and feared women, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell, because there are plenty more dark, dramatic, and shocking stories from history coming your way.